If you clicked on this video, either you or someone you love is dealing with hair loss, and my heart goes out to you because it is tough. I've been on this journey and I'm on this journey with you, and this channel was designed to be a place of encouragement and to provide resources that are going to support you. Hi, my name is Lynn, and welcome back to my channel. And so we've had a lot of new subscribers and viewers over the last several months. And so I wanted to take a few minutes to answer one of the most frequent questions that I get, which is, what did you do to go from hair loss to regrowth? And so today I'm going to share the top 10 things I did and am doing on this journey to stay in remission. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly, but also link to the videos that provide deeper knowledge from my guests or my own personal experience. And so I have notes. So if you see me look over, that's why. But go ahead and grab your notepad, your pen, your beverage of choice, and let's get started. Hi. Okay, so I thought it'd be helpful maybe to give some background because we have had so many new viewers, new people, just to give you a little bit of my background, and definitely want to hear about you, so leave a comment below. But my name is Lynn. I live in Delaware. I am from Philadelphia. Go Birds. I've also lived in Northern Virginia and in Southern California. I'm married. We have a blended family. Been married 15 years. We have 3 adult children. And I work in higher ed, and I'm finishing up a doctoral program, hopefully within the next year. And I started this channel to really be just a safe space, a safe place to grow, to learn, to understand what's happening, and to be a support and encourage others. And so if you are here, which you're here if you're watching, I'm glad you're here. And while it is a little bittersweet, because by being here means you're struggling in some things, but it's also, I think, when I say sweet, I think it's because we get to support one another. We get to walk on this journey together. We are not alone. I know I felt incredibly alone a few years ago before even getting my diagnosis. And so I'm grateful that we all get to be in this community together. And so to give you again a little bit of quick backstory, because I think context is important. And so in terms of the health situation that I was in even before my diagnosis, so I have had high blood pressure, which I've had for some years. And then also I had been diagnosed with PCOS several years ago, which quite frankly, I don't even know if that was the right diagnosis, but that's neither here nor there. But the one thing that I will say in terms of for the high blood pressure, because I know so many of us are struggling or have dealt with high blood pressure. One of the medications that I was on, I think what I realized was that it was causing dry, brittle hair. That's what I thought, right? I thought that it was doing that. And so this was even years before my diagnosis. I did my own research and I talked with my doctor, like, well, you know what? This particular medication called spironolactone is actually supposed to help with high blood pressure, but not have the dry, brittle hair kind of side effects. Plus, I realized this is now, I'm telling you sort of a current perspective, but even back then, I was dealing with hair issues, but not knowing what it was, right? So it took until 2020, 2021 to get diagnosed, but I've been dealing with this for years. And did not realize now, number one, that this has a genetic component to it, but I just didn't know. So I was just looking for relief, right? And so I started taking that. What I also think is because spironolactone also doubles as a DHT blocker might be why maybe the CCCA didn't get as pronounced as it could have, but it was bad. It was tough. And I'll link to the other videos that show all the pictures and you can see the whole journey. But today I wanted to really spend some time to answer again that main question that I get, what did you do? And so I think what I decided to do was come up with these 10 things. This is not an exhaustive list. So it by no means means that these are the only things that I've done, but these are the main things that I've done that I've been consistent with over time. The first one, quite frankly, is the one I'm sure you're already doing, is pray. I prayed, and I asked for wisdom. And actually, even before I went to the doctor, once my stylist was like, I think you have something happening here. And I was like, well, Lord, what am I going to do? What is going on? And at the time, 4 years ago, it was more of a surface topical thing. But over time, I realized like this is something else going on internally, and that's what we really need to be dealing with. The hair is the symptom. Praying and ask for wisdom. The word says if we ask for wisdom, he will grant that to us. Like if we lack wisdom, ask for it, he will give it to us. And so I think that is a really significant regular part of this process is asking for what's happening, because so many of us, I'm going to give you the 10 things that work for me, but you might have another 10 things because your situation is so unique to you, which is why asking will be beneficial for each of us in our own individual journeys. So the second thing that I would say, the second thing that I did was to really seek understanding, which was number one, I went to a dermatologist. I actually went to two. The first one, the second one was very helpful, but getting an understanding, trying to understand what is actually going on, even as we are limited sometimes in what people know, what they know CCCA, what it is. But the idea of trying to really understand what is going on, even before I went to the doctor, the articles that I saw, the things that I researched, it kept pointing to excess inflammation. And so even before I went to the doctor, I started to think through like, well, what is going on that's causing excess inflammation? Inflammatory conditions are literally everything from high blood pressure, hair loss, to stroke, there's so many things having excess inflammation in your body can do. And so I learned early on that inflammation is important for our bodies. It's a part of a healing mechanism, but too much is just that, too much. And so seeking to understand, like, what is CCCA? So centrifugal cicatricial alopecia. It's a hair loss that actually starts in the crown for many of us, and then it can spread out. My doctor told me that I had early scarring, which means I didn't have any scarred over follicles, but essentially if I didn't get a handle on it, that's where it could handle. And that's where you see the scarring, is when you see people who have the when it's balding or shiny. I actually had a little bit of that too. So seeking to understand, I think, is a really big part of this journey. And so I'm going to link to a video that Dr. Yolanda Lindsay did, and she really goes into detail about what CCCA is, what you can do to treat it. And so seeking to understand was the second thing that I did. The third thing that I did, and I mentioned this a little earlier, the third thing that I did was really try to understand the role of nutrition and what did I need to stop? What do I need to start? What do I need to increase? And so I increased anti-inflammatory foods. I was eating an average diet, but needed to have more anti-inflammatory foods. So leafy greens, increased berries, increased smoothies that had berries and leafy greens, increased protein, is reducing excess sugar and reducing sugar. I come from a family that we love. My grandmother would make dessert every Sunday. We love the sweets. And the reality is that too much sugar obviously is harmful. And I remember I'm in a couple of community Facebook groups and women that are dealing with hair loss, and we all say the same thing. When our scalp starts itching, and maybe there's a mini episode or something, we all know, cut back on the sugar or be mindful of that. I think being mindful of the role of nutrition, and being honest with ourselves about what we are eating or not eating can also help, because food can heal or it can harm depending upon what we're eating and what we're using. And so I want to link two videos. One I'll link is Karen of Curl House. She did a phenomenal job talking about the role of nutrition in our hair journey. And then also from a scientific perspective, Dr. William Lee does a phenomenal job talking about how food literally is medicine. And so the certain foods and things that we can eat that can actually support stem cell growth, which supports hair follicles. I'll link to that here. So definitely take a look at those. So that was another big piece of the journey. So the fourth thing was supplements. And I did some of these supplements actually even before, like my dermatologist didn't recommend these. These were things at the time where I was like, well, if I know I need to reduce inflammation, here are some supplements that can help with that. And let me go back a little bit too. When I went to the doctor to understand CCCA, or when I went to the doctor just in general, I did ask for certain labs and blood work. And so I got my vitamin D level tested. I got my testosterone level tested. Thyroid was another one. Iron levels is another one. All of these things can help understand if there are deficiencies. Back to the supplements. So for the supplements, one of the things, and again, this was even before I went to the doctor, I realized that I had not been taking vitamin D. I took a regular multivitamin, but I was not taking vitamin D. And so I started taking vitamin D, and that was for a couple of months, even before my lab work. And by the time I got the lab work was still showing that I was barely meeting the minimum. So that tells you how low my vitamin D probably was. And vitamin D is a hormone. And I'm not going to go into details about it. I am going to link to this video with Robin, the nutritionist, who does a phenomenal job talking about the importance of vitamin D for those particularly dealing with hair loss. And I'm taking her vitamin D supplement right now. Is vitamin D3 and K2. I'll link to that as well, but that's another supplement vitamin D that I take consistently. Turmeric with black pepper, and the reason why I take turmeric is because it is an anti-inflammatory compound herb. Spice, I guess a spice is top. And you take it, the one that I take, I would take it as a supplement, and I would take it with black pepper because black pepper makes sure that you get the absorption in your body. So I cycle on and off with some of these supplements. Vitamin D I take all the time. The turmeric with the black pepper, I take it off and on. Like I would take it for a few months and then stop, take it for a few months and stop. Actually, this last week I started doing shots. So I made a turmeric ginger shot, and I was taking it that way. And honestly, I had a tear, not a tear. I had a strain, and taking the turmeric actually helped that, even without taking the Tylenol or ibuprofen. So anyway, turmeric with black pepper is an anti-inflammatory, reduces excess inflammation. So that was something that I took and that I take. The other thing that I took in the first year or so of the journey was spearmint, because I read that it was helpful for hormones. I don't take it anymore. I do have peppermint tea or spearmint tea on a regular basis, but I don't take the spearmint pills anymore. I also added omega-3, and I also recently added collagen to my rotation. And so supplementation is really important. It's not a substitute for nutrition, but clearly for me, it's been helpful. The fifth thing that I've done that I focused on over the last few years since my diagnosis is really focusing on my sleep. So with sleep, being a perimenopausal and menopausal woman, it's like, yeah, I know I need to sleep. I know I need to sleep, but it can be challenging. I've done all types of different things. Do I take melatonin? Do I take this? I've taken all kinds of different teas and things to try to help me with sleep. But the other thing, I forgot to mention this other supplement. So magnesium. The magnesium supplement is the one that I take. I take this every day. This actually goes hand in hand with sleep. But the other supplement that I take is magnesium. This is for calming, relaxing. And I take this magnesium, and then I take I use 2 tea bags of lemon balm tea. And I take those about an hour before sleep. And I promise you, like, I get a good 6 to 7 hours of sleep. Not completely uninterrupted, but it's giving me a stable amount of sleep. And the reason why, and I'm sure you know this already, but the reason why sleep is so important is because it's when our body heals. It's when our cells are regenerating. And so there's so many other things that happen in sleep as well. I'm not a sleep specialist, but I just know the importance and the role of sleep in everything from even helping with our hunger hormones. It's so important. And so sleep is, I would say, number 5 of the things that I have been focused on over the last several years. I use this brand of tea every night, and I've tried all different kinds of versions of it. This one is the one that works for me. What do you use? Do you use something for sleep? Are you using any supplements, or how are you sort of ensuring or helping your sleep patterns? Would love to hear what's happening for you. That's the other thing about this channel, y'all. I so appreciate when you leave comments, because we all have such unique stories and we can all learn so much. I've gotten ideas, I've gotten recipe ideas, I've gotten reminders of things from all your comments. So please continue to share your ideas in the comments on the topics as we go forward. So number 5 was sleep. Number 6 is stress management. And so the other thing when I got my pathology report from the physician, it stated that, I think it might have said CCCA, but then it had like a couple of other types of alopecia, telogen effluvium being one of them. And that's something that I have struggled with for years. And telogen effluvium is a stress related hair loss. And so what I've realized now, several years later, is I had a stress spot right here. Long story short, it probably was beginning of CCCA for the last 20 years and didn't know it. But anyway, the stress spot, and then that's where the breakage would actually start. And so I've actually had 2 episodes since my original diagnosis where my hair had major shedding. It didn't go back to the original sort of where it was balding, but I did lose hair more so than I would normally in normal shedding. And it was post-COVID both times, and then also one time related to stress. So it's a reminder to me of managing stress. And actually, we're going to be bringing someone on to talk about that as well, about chronic stress and what we can do about it. But the things that I've learned over the last couple of years is just the importance of slowing down, the importance of surrendering. For those of you who might be like me, consider type A or always on the go, like sometimes like I'm learning like just sit down somewhere. And also, some things are just going to happen. Like, I can't control everything. I'm not trying to control everything. Technically, I'm not, but sometimes my actions speak differently. So, learning to surrender, learning to rest. I'm on a journey of that. Kareen from Confirmations did a really good job talking about using words to affirm us and calming, taking a calming approach and mindfulness. And so all of those are practices that, especially as I age, I'm getting much more, I think, intentional about. And I think it is helping everything, not just with the hair situation. Number 7 is simple hair care practices. Y'all, before I even got diagnosed, and even after then, I was like, I think I purchased everybody's hair oil and all these different supplements. Really, I really focus a lot on hair oils and like the shampoos and all these different things. They made some money off of me, right? Trying to find something that I thought was going to help. And what I've learned over time is that simple is better. And of course, cleaner ingredients, cleaner products are better. And so I wash and condition once a week, sometimes twice a week. I found actually that when I do it twice a week, my hair actually grows quicker. I feel like it grows quicker. And maybe I think it's because it has more hydration. So I use usually even today, like I did just like I washed it today. Normally, to me, I feel like it looks better with the afro a day or two after I wash, but I had to wash this morning. So this is what I have now. And then you can see even here we are. It's all, it grew back. Now this area, it is sometimes a little different texture than the rest. Like the area that was the CCCA sort of focus area. Sometimes it's a different texture. And it can be, I have a little bit more, like it has more straight, it's more straight. So there is certainly some differences, even when it's grown back, there are some differences with it, but I keep it short. It's easy maintenance, quite frankly. I'm actually due for a haircut. I'm going to probably get a little bit more short here, get a cut here, but I also have a significant amount of shrinkage, right? So this is what it kind of like, the shrinkage is real and I just push it back. But anyway, so simple hair care practices have been helpful for me. Now, I don't do any oils on my scalp. Earlier in the beginning, I did, I think I made my own kind of like hair growth oils and things, but I just stopped doing it because I'm not consistent enough with it. I've heard a lot of people have great success using different types of oils, but in this video, Tanya Lane from Curly Chemistry does a really good job talking about the use of serums and how they can be beneficial. She talks about peptides. And so it actually piqued my curiosity. And so I'm actually going to start pursuing, I'm going to start trying some out in terms of the serums and the peptides to see maybe, see what they might do. That's that. So do you all use oils on your scalp? And if so, which ones would you recommend for those who are interested in that? Or do you use serums and peptides? Would love to hear what's working for you. So number eight is actually more medical related. And so it relates to the fact that I've had a couple of flare-ups in the last 3 years. When I say flare-up, it means my scalp got itchy. Again, I told you when I had COVID, then it caused a flare-up or stress. So typically for me, a flare-up is itchy scalp, more shedding than normal. And it's so weird. It's hard to tell sometimes, like, is this shedding or is this like excess shedding, right? And so sometimes it's hard to tell. And sometimes you can't tell. For me, and sometimes I can't tell until I've lost a lot and I realized, oh, this is a lot thinner now. Like I didn't see it. I didn't almost, you couldn't tell that it was happening until it all happens, kind of thing. So when I feel what I would consider a serious flare up coming, I will use, it's a topical steroid called mometasone fuorate, mometasone mometasone fuorate, prescribed by my dermatologist. And it's a topical, it's a steroid, but it doesn't go into the bloodstream from what she said. And so if I feel something happening, I'll use it for about 5 to 7 days. And that usually is enough to kind of tamp it down. And so it's not frequent. Like I didn't use the steroids frequently. I did not get shots. So if a flare up is happening though, I will use it and I will try it out to see if I think it's helped a little bit. So I have used meds when I felt it was necessary. And so number 9 is actually learning to embrace this journey for what it is. This has been a part of the process that initially, like I didn't ask for this, I didn't want this, but here we are, right? I've been using the last couple of years, the tip is essentially I'm learning to embrace this journey and accepting it as almost like a tool to remind me of being a good steward of what I have, right? In terms of my resources, in terms of my health. Like, so am I eating right? Am I sleeping right? Am I drinking the right amount of water? That also is a part of it. I'm still working on that, y'all. Try to get like 2 liters a day, up to 2 liters a day of hydration. So learning to embrace this journey as like it's a tool for me to help me stay on track with being a good steward of this resource called my body. The other thing is sometimes like I'm learning nowadays, like some days it's just hard days. Sometimes this is a hard day. Sometimes I'm like, I wish my hair would be longer, or I wish, even though I keep cutting it, but I wish, sometimes I do have some beauty feelings, feeling a little like, having some questions around beauty. Speaking of beauty, y'all, look, I tried these. You can see this one's already lifted up. I've been trying these eyelashes. I digress, but I was trying these eyelashes. What do you think? Like, do you use lashes? I would look, I'm trying to find a good brand. I don't want it to be too much, but just a little splidge. This one is actually coming up. I've been using these for the last couple of days. So anyway, so all that to say, I'm learning to just embrace the day. Embrace the day. Sometimes when I feel like I'm struggling, I put a scarf on, just keep it moving. Like this journey is not going to dictate whether I have joy or not. Sometimes I put a scarf on. Sometimes it's like, this is what I got. This is what God gave me. I'm going to thank him for it and be grateful. Right? Well, actually that's all the time, but living gratitude. So just learning to embrace this journey. And number 10, quite frankly, probably the one that is maybe not the most fun, but it's patience. It took me about 4 to 5 months to start to see actual, number 1, the shedding to stop and the regrowth to start once I got diagnosed. And in fact, once I got diagnosed, y'all, it actually got worse before it got better. So patience, this whole thing has been an exercise in being patient and waiting. And over time, I got into remission, and for the last couple of years have been able to, I believe, stay in remission. I'm actually well overdue for a dermatologist appointment. I'm actually thinking about asking my dermatologist, because I need to get an appointment just to get a checkup. But would you be interested in that if I took you along on a trip with me to the dermatologist or to the hairstylist? Like I'm thinking about recording that as well, so you can hear not just from me, but hear from those who have been sort of in my hair as well. But anyway, I hope that this has been helpful. Again, my purpose was just to answer and provide the 10 things that I've been the most consistent with. I'm still working on these areas, but just wanted to share and answer that question about, well, what did you do? These were the things that were been the most consistent things that I've done over the last 3 or 4 years to go from losing my hair and possible scarring of a lot more of my follicles to going into remission. And so I hope this is helpful. As always, leave a comment, share your ideas, and live well, live blessed, and I'll see you in the next video.